Hi, I'm Bill Corcoran Jr. This is the On the Stacks podcast.
Oh yeah, whoa, look, they can never keep me down, I'm going, and if I ever fail, just know I'll go again. I never quit, cause I know that every loss may lead to another win. I'm going up.
Business and life, it's up to you to decide what you want to do with your life. And whatever you want to do, you can succeed doing it. Never take no for an answer. And the worst thing anybody could tell me, oh, you can't do that. Or that, you're up against, really? I'll show you. And that's how I used to, in my head, not out loud, because I was never cocky, but in my head, I had a positive attitude to everything I did. To this day, I do.
Today, I'm chatting with Tommy Van Scoy, owner of Tovan Co. Diamonds. This episode is brought to you by Burn, the fitness company behind the Today Show approved Burn board. If I'm being honest, working out can be a real chore, especially as a new dad in desperate need of sleep and cardio. Burn is founded by NEPA native Jimmy T. Martin, and his Burn board offers a low-impact core and cardio experience unlike anything I've done before. They have hundreds of on-demand workouts that are great for beginners, seasoned athletes, and out-of-shape podcast hosts who love supporting small businesses. My wife and I use it pretty frequently throughout the week, and it's honestly a great way to burn a ton of calories without burning a ton of cash. Not to mention, it's a great tool for skiers, runners, wrestlers, and hockey players. Jimmy is offering all On the Stacks listeners 15% off when they use the code STACKS15. Visit theburn.com today to get 15% off your purchase with code STACKS15 at checkout. Again, that's theburn, THEBRRN.com to get 15% off your purchase with code STACKS15. It's time to get on board today with Burn. This episode is brought to you by Blue Door Financial. Blue Door Financial will help you save money and reduce taxes to live a fuller financial life. To learn more, visit Blue Door Financial online at BLUdoorfinancial.com. That's BLUdoorfinancial.com. What's up, podcast episode 121 of the On the Stacks podcast here in the Blue Door studio. Tommy Van Scoy. How you doing?
Good, Billy. How you doing?
I'm great, and I'm really excited to have you here today.
Thanks for inviting me. I got to tell you, I've heard about this that you do with the podcast, and when you call me, like, oh my God, this is really awesome. I really appreciate it a lot.
And we got to give a shout out to our mutual friend, Jane Henry, who's no longer a Henry anymore.
Oh, no, she is not. She's a Richardson now.
She is.
Oh, my God. What a great wedding, too. My goodness, it was gorgeous.
Awesome. So, so she introduced us.
Uh-huh.
So thank you to Jane for making the connection. Because like I said, I'm really excited to have you on because you have some really cool, interesting stories. You've done some really, really cool things in your life, and I'm excited to hear about them and from my listeners and viewers to hear about everything you've done.
Yeah. Yep.
So, diamonds, race car driving, flying your own plane around the country. You've done a lot of stuff. So kind of take me back. You're from Bear Creek.
Yep. Born and raised there.
Big family. Right?
Yes, 8 of us in the family, and I'm the oldest of 8. And then there was 8 of us within 10 years. So I always remember my mom carrying a kid in each, like, I didn't know my mom without a child on her, you know what I mean? Clinging to her. You know?
Yeah. Sorry, so you grew up with all these siblings. What was that like?
Oh, it was great. Honestly, we grew up in a 2-bedroom home. My dad built a house up in Bear Creek, and there was 8 of us in one room, and then, of course, him, my mom in the other room. So we had 3 bunk beds and 2 fold-up. You know, those beds that you fold up and you put them out of the way. Went to this little school called Oliver School in Bear Creek. And it was great. I mean, it was fun. We didn't have a lot, but you know what? We had a blast. And my dad come home one day with the trunk, pulls in the driveway, trunks popped open, like, what does he have? Out there is a go-kart, but no motor. Right? I got this thing for nothing, you know what I mean? So he said, we'll find a motor. So we took a motor off a chainsaw. We bolted it to this thing. We got it to work. And I used to drive that thing around the yard. We used to play football when football season where all the kids get together, baseball. And we used to, believe it or not, take turns coming down, it was called Old Piston Boulevard. About 4 of us, friends of mine, and we used to have an apple orchard back. So we pick apples. So we take turns going down in front of the rest of us, throwing apples so you could split the most apples through the spokes of the wheels on a bicycle.
Okay.
Boom, get hit in the head, like, oh my God, you know what I mean? But yeah, anyway, it was fun. We had a good time up there.
So is this you mentioned the go-kart, right?
Yeah.
So is this where the racing thing started for you?
It probably did. I don't know, I guess it was about 10 years old. And my dad got this go-kart, and I used to drive around, oh my God, I guess it was probably a tenth of a mile only. But I used to get the car going sideways. I mean, I'd be driving around the corner. Now I know it's called short track, dirt track racing, they call it, oval racing, right? I watched in the corner. I used to do that up at the house, you know?
Yeah.
With the car sideways going through the corners. But it taught me good eye-to-hand coordination for driving on the street and everything. And then, my father got this motorcycle that wasn't running, little mini bike, and we got it running, got it working. And I'll never forget, he used to have a store down in the corner of South Main Street, Northampton Street. Here we are on his mini bike, right? Mini bike. It's a mini bike. He takes me to work with him on the mini bike down Bear Creek Mountain to Wilkes-Barre. I'm telling you, my dad was crazy, but fun crazy.
I love it.
I'm telling you, right?
Oh, my God.
So coming up together, we couldn't because it was only a centrifugal clutch, no gears on it. So my mother she followed us down and followed us back up. Halfway up, coming up through Bear Creek, we call it the cuts now, where the tubs are. Now it's a park. We used to swim there. And so I'd hop in a car with her. He'd drive it back up the house. But that's the type of stuff we did. You know what I mean? We had a blast. We had fun.
Yeah.
My old dad always used to say, you know what? If a man built a Tommy, we can fix it. And I live by that to this day. I tell my kids the same thing. Of course, everything now is computerized this, computerized that. Up until about 2 years ago, I used to do my own oil changes and my own brakes. For me, it's therapy, though, too. It's like I get out of the store, out of the jewelry store. I like building things, I like building things, so.
Did you learn a lot of that from your dad?
Yeah, I think I did. Yeah, my dad, like I said, we could make it. If a man made it, we could fix it. He said, always told me, he said, the only limit you have, Tommy, is your brain. Your brain will limit you or to let you go. Whatever you can imagine, you can do. And he's right.
How old were you when he said that? Do you remember?
I was about 10 years old. Actually, it was when he brought the go-kart home with no motor on it. And, then if we did this, we put a brake on it, and he was a thinker. He always taught me think ahead, number one. And you can always there's always a simple solution to it. And they go the simple route first, because 9 times out of 10, it's the best. And go by your gut feeling. And I do that to this day. And your gut doesn't tell you something's right, I'm telling you, Billy, it's usually not.
You're right.
It's usually not. The gut will never let you down.
Ever.
Nope. Honest to goodness. I live by that to this day.
I agree. Yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
Yep.
Yeah.
So we had a great childhood. I mean, honestly, like I said, the 8 of us. And then my mother said to him, Tom, we got to get a bigger house. I mean, my God, that 8 kids, now they're getting older, right?
Yeah.
And I think it was 10 at the time, 10 or 11. So we ended up moving to Kingston, Green Acres in Kingston. And, oh, my God, it was like my brother Tony and I had one bedroom. The girls each had a bedroom. Like, we're in like heaven here, And it was really funny because we used to have little old horses up there. My father buys $50 a horse back then, $50, right? I used to take barbed wire and put it around the apple trees for the horses, and we had the horses. But then cleaning the stalls, my mother had to take me up to Bear Creek to clean out the stalls every 2 or 3 days, So that was a pain. But I used to go to, when I first was in Kingston grade school, right? Chester Street it was called. And I used to have hair. And I used to have like Elvis look. Oh, yeah. I did. Honest to goodness, I did. Believe me.
Oh, I saw the photos you brought in.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
exactly.
You brought some photos, so I could attest that there were some.
So I had hair like Elvis, right?
And it was nice.
All right,
nicer than mine.
I'm talking like, but I'm like 11 years old yet, 12 years old. But he used to wear the boots that he used to clean the horse stalls with, right? And these kids like, oh my God, what stinks in here? They go, God told me, I was like, Mom, I can't wear these, because they were comfortable. I can't wear these to school anymore,
Yeah.
So I got a pair of sneakers, which, from then on, I wore.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's, and then we moved to Kingston, and then it was, and I couldn't stand it because, the house was this far apart. Like, oh my God, it's like I couldn't stand it. It was tough getting used to it, but I did.
Yeah.
You do.
Yeah. On the Stacks will be back in a flash after a word from our sponsor.
Hi, it's Patrick Doyle, and welcome to Access Anzalone. At our office, our attorneys are vested in the community that we live in. And we think that's something that you should consider when you're selecting your personal injury attorney in your personal injury law firm. Our attorneys serve on the boards of the Kirby Center and Unico, Earth Conservancy, Wyoming Valley Drug and Alcohol Services, and Northeast Site Services. This community matters to us, and it makes your case so much more important to us. Oftentimes, our clients are tempted to hire a big city law firm, to go hire a lawyer from out of the area. And when you do that, ask yourselves, Are those lawyers familiar with our roads and our highways and our streets? Are they familiar with the way our governments run and the way healthcare is provided in the Wyoming Valley? And even more importantly, ask yourself whether the outside attorney from the big city has a vested interest in this community. At the Anzalone Law Offices, we do, and we ask that you consider that before making your decision on who to hire.
And now we're back on the stacks. So, all right, so the diamond business for you, how old were you when you got started?
Okay, I'm going to laugh at this. I can't say the diamond business, but in the jewelry business. That's
Okay.
like the end of it. I was 14 years old, right? My father picks me up from football practice. So listen, I got something for you at the store. I'm thinking it's a mini bike or something cool, right? Bicycle, a neat bike or something. So I walk in the back shop area, and he says, "There it is." And I'm looking,
What is it?
I don't see anything. Dad, where is it? Right there in front of you. A brand new jewelry bench with all the tools. I said, "What do you want to do?" "I want you to learn how to set diamonds and size rings, Tommy. Right now I send them out to people, and I know you could do it. You're good with your hands, and you'll figure out how to do it." Oh, my goodness. Okay, so I taught myself, right? And honest to goodness, Billy, I couldn't stand it. So now I turn 18, right? I'm doing this. He picked me at practice. Wrestling practice, that going for size rings and set diamonds and stuff.
So you were doing this for 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 years old.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Okay.
Yep. So,
And you taught yourself.
yeah. I taught myself how to do this stuff. Again, 9 times out of 10 things are common sense, Bill. You cut this big, the only thing I got to figure out is how big a size, for finger size difference, how big a piece they have to cut out. Well, then I saw in the mantle those little markings, and I'm looking, I said, "I'll bet you that means one size is this big, 2 sizes that big. 2 sizes is this big." So I tried it, and sure enough, it worked. It went from a 6 to a 5. Like, all right, now I know how to do this. And I learned how to get good with the torch and the file and the emery and all that stuff. And that's how.
So that was your start in the jewelry business.
I'm starting the jewelry business now, right? So I told you I couldn't stand it. So I turned 18 years old. And in between this, we used to have a landscaping business. My dad used to do a sodding service called Van Scoy Sodding Service. And I did concrete work, right? And we used to share this little machine called the Bobcat, little skidster. No cage on it yet. Now they have cages, real safe.
Yeah.
No cage.
Nothing. Yeah.
No, nothing, right?
Yeah, you had the convertible version.
Basically, right. Exactly. So we used to share it if I had concrete jobs. Dad, I need it today. Okay, and I'm back and forth. And so I lost my train of thought here. We're going to a
landscaping business. Yeah.
Landscaping business. So that was what we did in the summertime. So then in the winter, I used to drive a tractor trailer. It was called Post Fuel. Jimmy Post, a friend of my dad's. And they're out of business now, and I think he passed away, actually. But I used to drive a tractor trailer, 9,000-pound trailer filled with fuel oil. I used to fill up the breweries and hospitals and stuff, right? I'm 18 years old. Right. Nowadays, you need a CD. Oh, my God, you got to do this.
Yeah.
It's crazy now.
Was this right after high school?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, right out of high school.
Okay.
Yeah, 18 years old. So I didn't go to college. He told me he couldn't afford it, and I understood it. And so I did that in the winter, and then in the summer I did the concrete business and a little bit of landscaping until he wanted to open a store in Scranton. He said, "Tommy, I opened a store in Scranton. Would you manage it for me in between November and March when you don't pour the concrete? Instead of driving field truck, could you do this?" I said, "Yeah, Dad, no problem." I said, "But March comes, I got concrete jobs lined up." He said, "Yeah, I know. Billy, he didn't look too hard, right? I was there for like 2 years.
Yeah.
So I had concrete jobs lined up. I ended up doing it on weekends, Oh, he's a tough one, my dad. But thank God he was like he was. And okay, we opened a store in Scranton. So meanwhile, while I'm managing the store, this young fellow comes in, foreign speaking. I didn't know what it was at the time. Here he's an Israeli, and his dad was a diamond cutter. So we started chit-chatting. He showed me diamonds. I said, "Look, my dad buys this stuff. I'm just here.
I'm just here.
Keep taking him time." All right, until my concrete jobs. Or he finds a manager first. So, which that didn't work. So
Found you.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
So he says to me, "Listen, after about 4 hours, right?" He said, "If you ever like to go to Israel, you can stay at my house." I'm like, "Wow, Israel, right? Okay. You mean that?" "Yeah, I do. Honestly, I do." Okay. So I went home that night, and we didn't have Google. We didn't have any internet. You pull out the old encyclopedia books all over my table, right? Yeah. It goes from here to there. You flip the page. It goes like, oh, my God, wow. All right. I'm 22 years old at this point. So we're 18 till 22 is when
And you just met this guy.
I just met this guy that afternoon in the store.
Just met him. He literally invited you
exactly
to his house in Israel.
But that's how they are. They're friendly people.
That day.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Yep. So after 2 weeks went by, right? I said, okay. So I gave him a call. He gave me his phone number. I didn't know how to dial the thing. Operator, could you get me to this number here? That's overseas. Okay, I know. Yeah. I know how to do it. So got me in touch. His name was Elkanah. I said, Elkanah, did you mean what you said? He said, absolutely, Tom. You'd like to come? I said, yeah, I do. Okay, let me know what flight. I'll meet you at the airport. You can stay with us. So, all right, so now, how do I tell my father? Right? Then I'm going to Israel. What? So I just said, Mom, I'm going on vacation. Right? So, oh my
so
God,
you didn't
tell
tell
your
him.
father.
That's what you said. You were just going on vacation.
I'm just going on vacation.
Okay.
So I'm like, oh, your father's going to be mad, right? So you better tell your father. Oh, Dad, listen, I'm going to go on vacation. Vacation? Jesus Christ, Betty, we raised a bum here, He needs I never went on vacation in my life, and this kid needs a vacation, And so, what do you need a vacation for? I said, Dad, listen, I just want a break, I need a break. Okay, so I didn't tell him I was going where I was going. Nowhere, nothing. So I get a flight. I'll never forget. It was a 707 with the 4 engines. The seats were this big, And we went from, I was JFK, I think, to Spain, Barcelona to Frankfurt. It was like the longest trip in the world, right?
Yeah, sounds like it.
Oh, my God. So we get there, and I'm like, okay, I know what this guy looks like. I hope he's here.
And you're by yourself.
I'm by myself. I'm 22 years old,
okay.
Right? And I land, and I'm like, oh, my God, looking out the window. And you look out the window, you see these airplanes that look like they were bombed, And I tried to, there's no research to do in this place, but you heard about the fight in Israel with the Palestinians and this and that, whatever. So it's like, oh my God, it's like prehistoric here, It's like, and you get off the airport and it's hot. After the airplane, it's hot as heck. I mean, it's really hot. So I get in the airport and you clear customs, and I'm looking. There's people lined up all over, and sure enough, I see his hand sticking up in the air. Like, oh my God, it's Elkanah, right? So he waited for me. He took me in his car. We went home. He said, Tommy, tomorrow morning, we're going to go for a little trip. I said, okay, where are we going? He said, we're going to drive south to the Dead Sea, and we're driving all the way to northern. It's going to take about 6-7 hours to drive. I said, all right, cool. We drove down to the Dead Sea, and there's a sign that said 0. I said, what is that? He said, that's elevation. You're at sea level here. We drove for another hour and a half down to the Dead Sea. And back then, it was just a 2-lane road going down the road, right? I'm like, oh, my God, no guardrails. Like, oh, God, I don't know these, I just met these guys, really.
This isn't Kingston anymore.
Exactly. And here's Elkanah in the driver's seat, and there's a little Peugeot truck. The whole truck's maybe, right? And over there, they carry their guns with them, the M16s or AK, not AK-47, but whatever the rifle, I think it's AR-15, whatever it was, right? So, and they don't go anywhere without it, back then. So we're driving down, and his buddy picked up his buddy Aaron. So it was Elkanah, myself, and Aaron driving to the Dead Sea. We get to the Dead Sea. Come on, you got to go in. It's hot as hell. Like, holy God Almighty. So I get in there and stuck my foot in the water. I'm like, oh my God, it's all. And I had shorts on. It's like oil. So I said, I got shorts on. You walk on this thing, you can rinse you. So I said, I'll go in and rinse off. So I went in there, started walking. All of a sudden, boing, I start floating. Like, oh, man, this is freaking awesome, right? You can float in the water, right?
Yeah.
Here I am. I had 22 years old, like whatever now. So I get out, and as soon as you get out, you dry, and you're all white, right? And hosed off. Then we hop back in the truck, and we were up right next to the border of Jordan, all the way up through Syria to the Golan Heights, the Sea of Tiberias. I mean, it was probably the neatest trip. I never left Kingston. You know what I mean? To be over there, and like, oh, my God, it's like...
What an experience.
It was. It really, truly was. It was one of the best things I ever did. So, okay, so now for a week. So that was the first day we went and spent there. And he took me around to the cities and Tel Aviv and stuff. Beautiful. Honestly, it's the most beautiful country in the world. It really is. And safe, believe it or not. People say, no, you're nuts. No. It's South Wilkes-Barre now. You're not as safe as you are over there, right?
Yeah.
So, be getting ready to leave now in the week. And he said, listen, I talked to my dad, and he said, give Tommy some diamonds to sell. Okay, so I went to the diamond. It's called the Bursa in Hebrew. In Hebrew, at diamond buildings. There's 3 of them. Yellow means the word diamond in Hebrew, and the Bursa is the buildings. Diamond Bursa. So I went into the office, and there's this diamonds everywhere. I mean, the people walking around with these boxes and they're, what do you want to see? And they open them up and you can't believe it. It's amazing. Of course, security was also amazing. Try to get
very
in there.
tight.
Oh yeah, like you wouldn't believe, right? So I get in the office. So, can I talk to you? His father said, yes, you did. We want to give you these diamonds to try to sell for us in the States. I said, okay. So I took him with me. Right? How am I going to get him home? He said, well, we're going to call a broker. We're going to have a broker meet you in Kennedy Airport, and then we'll clear you through customs. Then you have to get a ride home. I said, okay, I'll figure that out. So I drove there, so I drove back home. I drove to Kennedy, so I drove back home, so I had a ride home. So I get home. Mom, Tommy, how you doing? How was your vacation? I said, good, Mom. How's he doing? Is he back yet, Betty? Hear him on the phone, right? My dad in the other room. Is he home yet? Yeah. I said, I'll see you tomorrow at work. I'll stop in the store tomorrow. So I showed him these diamonds, right? I pick up, was called a parcel of diamonds.
Yeah, so how many did you bring back?
$30,000 worth of diamonds, right? And they're parcels that could be like 10 or 20 or 50 diamonds in this fold-out little parcel like I have with the diamonds I brought today. They're called parcels. I look at them. I said, Dad, how much you pay for these? Let me look at them. I don't know, about $900. How'd you like to buy them for $700? You're kidding me. Where were you? I said, Dad, where were you? I was in Israel. You were in Israel? Oh, my God, Betty. The kid was in Israel. I was like, oh, Jesus. I said, Dad, let's continue looking. So, these other stones, how much you pay for these? $600. How'd you like to buy them for $400? He bought all of them from me, the whole thing. I called Elkanah the next day on the phone because there's 7 hours difference. And I said, Elkanah, I sold the stuff. He started laughing. He said, no, when do you think you're going to go out and sell them? I said, no, honestly, I sold the stuff. You're kidding me? One day? I said, my father bought everything. Oh, my God, Tommy, we'll send you more. Right? So, okay, so then, we really my dad started doing really well because we got diamonds for less than we could have gotten any other vendor anywhere by 20% at least, right? So then he went to open another store in Scranton. From Scranton, we opened a store in Binghamton. That happened in Scranton when he met this fella.
Right, yep.
Then we opened a store in Binghamton. So I'm always there at grand opening to the store with diamonds I had, right, from overseas. In case they didn't have certain diamonds, I'd have them in my box. This fellow walks in on a Sunday, and he says, is the owner here? So I said, yeah, I'll get my father. So Dad comes out and, can I help you? He said, yeah. He said, I want to buy this store. My father said, I just opened the store. He said, then I want to buy one like this. So he said, I'm not selling the store, right? So later that night, now they're in Binghamton for the grand opening. The next day they called me and said, Tommy, could you come over to the house, right? Because I was married at the time, all right? And I got married actually when I was 21 years old, 21. Back then, if you got married when you were 21 years old.
Yeah.
By 23, what's wrong with you,
Yeah.
So I with my wife, so he called the house and listen, Tommy, why don't you come over? So I went over and he said, I'm talking to Mom. He said, I think we could start franchising stores. We start selling stores. I'll do the advertising. Everybody knows my father's voice. My goodness gracious. They used to call the store, get that guy off the radio. That voice is disgusting. I said, Dad, you got it. You're on too much. They knew where to call, didn't they? I'm thinking, you know what? The guy's right. So we called the fellow back, and he opened the first store. Where the heck was that? I forget where that first store was, actually. I think it was down in Lancaster. And then from there, other people, other stores. So it ended up being, in about an 15-year period, 49 stores my father had up and down the East Coast. Franchises they were. And back then, you didn't franchise jewelry stores. And I was on that plane every 45 days for 18 years, going back and forth to Israel. And then I stopped in Belgium because there's another Boursa in Belgium, Antwerp. So I stopped in Antwerp. And then South Africa. I was in South Africa 3 times looking because I'm thinking, I'm going to go right to the source and get the diamonds right out of the mines. That's how I was back then. Right?
Yeah.
You can't tell me the different,
Yeah.
And but it was too long a flight. And believe it or not, they export most of the diamonds from South Africa. All the white goods, believe it or not, the white diamonds, they export. The off color, they kept there because the light is brighter in South Africa. So a yellow diamond looks whiter. I'm like, oh my God, I never thought about that.
Wow. Interesting.
Yeah. And I never knew that. Right? And they said, don't leave the hotel. We'll pick you up And they did, because it wasn't safe back then, And so, yeah, I've been to India, I've been to Belgium, oh my God, Israel every 45 days for 18 years.
So I want to talk about that for a second. So every 45 days, you made a trip to Israel.
Yep.
Like just buying every single time.
Yep. Every time.
Like,
yeah, because I mean, I saw Israel one time, you know what I mean? So there's always something to see different, I guess. But at that point in time, my father was franchising one after the other. And, you supplied somebody in Allentown. We had a store in Allentown at one time, a franchise. And, hey, listen, I need more of this. So I make a list of goods everybody needs. So I put a list together, and I go over and buy. I'd sit in the Diamond Club with this Elkanah's father. Because, a certain diamond cutter, he made good for cutting round diamonds, but he doesn't cut pear shapes or ovals. So then they used to take me to the Bursa, which is downstairs, and the buildings are built facing the north light, because the north light's the most true as far as Kelvin temperature. Diamonds got the best grading light for diamonds is Kelvin temperature 5500, which is like daylight light. And the buildings are built that way. So the lights are coming through, and windows from the floor to the ceiling.
Wow.
And then it looked like picnic tables in there, basically. I'm telling you, think, oh my God, a diamond, it's like a big room with tables in it. Nothing fancy, right? I'm walking like, this is all it is, like a big room with tables.
Millions of dollars in diamonds.
Millions and millions of people walking around. And what you do, you write a list of what you're looking for. I'm looking for 1 carat diamonds, this color, this clarity, and slide it at the edge of the table. And the cutters will walk by, or brokers of the cutters, and like, oh, I got some of those. So they'd sit and wait for the next one. He left, and you look at the diamonds in it. Nah, I don't like that. Throw it back. Next guy, and he likes something. You want to make an offer on it. How much you want? I want 1,000. It's only worth 800. So what you did, you took this envelope, regular envelope, like a bank envelope. You slit the parcel paper in there with the diamond in it. You sealed it with tape, and you scratched the top of it. It's called zich. They can't open that. I'm the only one that can open that parcel. So if they'll come next morning, and you write on the back, my offer is 800, you want 1,000, 800. Nah, Tommy, the owner, can't do it. Here, open it. So they give it to me, then I open it. Then I take the parcel and hand it back to them. That's how it's done in the diamond business.
Wow.
Right? Yeah. Yep. So then, again, every 45 days I used to go.
So you're doing this, and you're flying on a commercial plane.
Yeah.
Literally like 45 days.
Yes.
For
every 45 days.
Every 45 days for 18 straight years.
Yeah.
Like making all these trips back and forth.
Yeah.
Like, were you ever worried about like getting robbed? Did you ever get robbed? Like followed? Like,
no, I haven't. Thank God. All right. Back then, who would think this kid is carrying the diamonds they had on me? I mean, it's come back with $350,000 to $400,000 worth of diamonds on me, but nobody. I'd wear a pair of jeans, and a T-shirt, like.
Yeah, so you didn't look like you were carrying $500,000 in diamonds.
Exactly.
So you knew what you were doing.
Oh, believe me. And I used to wait. Like if I'm on the road, I'd wait in a restaurant for a seat with my back against the wall. All right, put the diamonds on my. I had a little leather case. I used to put them on my feet. If I had to stay in a hotel, they had to be right next to me, or else Lloyd's of London wouldn't cover it. If they, let's say they were in a closet, even in the safe in the room, and we got robbed, they wouldn't cover it. They had to be next to me.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's unbelievable, right?
Like just in a briefcase next to you.
Yeah. Yeah. $300,000, $400,000 worth of diamonds.
And you just carry that everywhere you went.
Yep, exactly. Then I come back, and okay. And the reason it was 45 days, because I got payment at 30 days in Israel. So I wired the money over in 30 days. So it would take me a couple days to sort the goods or be on the road supplying it. So I needed the extra 5 days. That's why I gave them 35 days to pay. When I had, let's see, with 35, I paid in 35 days. That's what it was. I paid in 35 days. I gave my customers 30 days. So it was a 5-day lap to get the goods out. And they send the money to me, wire it over, and I wired overseas. Then in 1997, I heard of the Diamond Dealers Club in New York City, right? So I said, all right. I've been there once or twice with friends, They used to have a restaurant up there. It's like, wow, it's pretty cool. This guy known throughout the world. That guy, like, holy God, that's like, So I figured I'd put my application in. And I'm not Jewish, not that matters, but most everybody in the business is Jewish. And a lot of the Hasidic people, which are nice people, great business people. So I put my application in. But most everybody, if, Saul is signed for you or Abel signed for you. I was like, I know this guy, I had 2 guys I know from Israel, and those 2 fellows signed for me that they knew me. And they said it's a long process. So I sent the application in. I didn't hear anything for 3 months. 3 years. 3 years. 3 years. Okay, I got my first interview, and they say you get 3 interviews. I'll never forget walking through these doors. The biggest oval table I ever saw in my entire life. And there's all Israelis and people in the diamond business there.
And this is in New York City.
New York City, right? New York City Diamond Dealers Club is called DDC. They knew more about me than I knew about me. They knew what my mortgage payments were, my car payments, what I drove, where my kids went to school. They knew everything about me. I felt naked sitting there like, oh, my God. And they said, the reason why you're here, even accepting you, because we know you do business in South Africa. We do business in Israel. We know who you do business with in Israel, and you pay your bills on time. That's the most important thing for them. Because in all honesty, you can walk in a Diamond Dealers Club with a handshake or just a signature and walk out with $10 million worth of diamonds, and they don't want that to happen. Well, the thing is, there's only 2,000 members in this whole club throughout the whole world. 2,000 members, that's it. So I'm trying to get into this specific, and at the time, I think there's only 2 of us that weren't Jewish, you know what I mean? Because most of them were Jewish people and Hasidic people and Israelis and stuff. And so I thought, what are my chances, right? So, okay. So I got the second interview, a couple more questions they had, knew more about me. Finally, about 3 years, took about a year after, so 4 years total, I finally get a letter saying I'm accepted in the New York Diamond Dealers Club. And we expect your honesty and a whole 9 yards. Out of the 2,000 members, upstanding, you're one of us now. Like, holy cow, right? So I used to go instead of going to Israel as much, because the same cutters used to come to New York. And I don't have the flight to pay, time away from the family. So, and was nice. I made him an offer. It's like, like it? Hey, have a good trip. See you later, right?
Yeah.
Where in Israel, they knew he'd come over to buy, so he's God. He'll give us a little more, and you couldn't go back empty-handed,
right?
So, pay a little bit more, but it's still cheaper than buying from a vendor off the street in the States. So then, New York Diamond Dealers Club, I accepted the New York Diamond Dealers Club. So then I used to go there every 2 days, and so on and so forth. And then I used to fly back and forth to Teterboro in the airplane. It was safer, believe it or not. People say, well, you're nuts. That's safer that than driving from New York City. The only thing I worried about is getting from the Diamond Dealers Club to the aircraft in Teterboro,
Okay, all right. So at this point, you bought your own plane.
Oh, see, I'm jumping again. I apologize.
No, that's okay.
Yes.
Yeah, because we got a picture
there
of it
it
here.
is. I know. I know.
Yeah. So all right. So
my buddy.
So you,
okay. So 1985, right? So now they're getting bigger, getting more stores and so on and so forth. My accountant says to me, Tommy, listen, you're spending $4,000 or $5,000 a month on commercial flights to see these jewelers. Why don't you get yourself a little airplane with 100% investment tax credit write-off? Buy it for whatever you owe in taxes. So I got this little airplane, 6-passenger. Back then, it wasn't, now it's, I guess, a little bit bigger now. But I mean, what things are today. So I bought the plane. So a buddy of mine was a flight instructor. So I said, Bob Jenkins, he's a great guy, good friend of mine. Would you fly me around here? He said, yeah, Tommy, I'll do it, no problem. And he's a flight instructor, and I sat in the back. And he said, why don't you sit up front here? I said, Bob, I'm not interested. I drove race cars are fun. This thing is like, it's okay.
So he's flying you around to the different stores, right?
Yeah, I'm waiting for me at the airport. He dropped me off, and I go to...
You're transporting the diamonds, right?
And selling them the goods.
Okay.
Come back to the airport, hop in the airplane, and Bob fly home with us. I didn't have to stay in a hotel at that point, you know what I mean?
Yep.
And someone with me, security-wise and everything. But even when we stayed at the airplane, I rented a car and drove right to the stores. One thing I never did, I never made an appointment with them. I'll be there Monday or Tuesday. You're going to be around. Not so much for the people I've visited, even with jewelers outside of ours, outside of the Van Scoy stores. When most people get hit on the road, when they say hit, robbed, it's when they make appointments with people. So in this business, you don't make an appointment in the wholesale business. You just show up. All right?
Yeah, so you're not coming tomorrow at 2.
Exactly. Or where are you staying, No more of that, right?
Yeah, right.
So I just show up, and if they're busy with a customer, I can wait now. Because otherwise, it's like, oh, my God,
you don't have to catch the flight.
Yes, the flight leaves at 4 o'clock. It's 3 o'clock now. I didn't talk to the jeweler yet. What am I going to do, So you leave. So you spend all that money and time for nothing. So the plane helped me get around to the people, and safer, too, believe it or not.
Yeah.
That's how I get into flying. So then Bob, the flight instructor, said, you know what? if something happens to me, I said, you know what? Teach me how to land this puppy, all right? Let me get in the ground if I have to. So then Bob started teaching me flight instruction. I got my pilot's license, the private license. I got the instrument license, then the flying in the clouds, and it's called IFR, Instrument Flight Rules. And then the plane it was really equipped. I mean, it could take it. It's called a localizer. Take it right down the chute. We call it the chute, right to decision height. You see the airport or not? If you see it, autopilot off and land it. It's a good airplane. And so then I started flying myself around doing this. And, being overseas, it was stressful, at certain points. So now I'm going back and forth to New York. And, in fact, I did this up until 2018. And then,
Still flying up until
still flying.
Up until then.
Still flying up around there. Yep, exactly. And then 2018 comes. I'm working on a light up my ceiling, my store up in Wilkes-Barre. I fell off a ladder. Oh, man, that was a bad one. So anyway, I lost my medical to fly. You need a pilot's license and a medical certificate to fly. And at that point, I had 2,300 hours, which is a lot for a private pilot. And now it's like I can't get my medical back. You're like, oh, my God. So I decided to sell the airplane. So actually, it's up for sale right now. We have somebody made an offer on it. We're going to probably take it. So that's my flying route, and that's how I get into it.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
You've been all over the place.
You know what? It was really an adventure in my life that, like I said, I was never out of Kingston, basically, I used to go with my dad once or twice to New York when I was like 14 or 15. He had to pay a bill, and he'd take me in with him and stuff. And, you look around these skyscrapers like, oh, God, how do these people live like this,
Yeah. So when you were 14, you got that bench. You said earlier, like, oh, I hated that thing.
I did. I couldn't stand it.
Did you ever think you'd ever get into this business and get to the point where it got to?
No, never. So, no, I didn't actually, because I hated it so much of the time because I was forced to do it, right?
Yeah, right.
So then, okay, so I could tell you get tired of traveling, a lot of straining. So I called my mom and my dad, and I said, listen, I'm tired of traveling. Now they're shipping me goods from Israel. I don't have to go all the time. They'll ship me the goods. I got on the phone. We started hammering up prices. You want it? Nope. I'm sending them back. Give me this price. The negotiating, which I love to do, and that taught me how to negotiate. These guys, these fellas. So I started. I told my mom. I asked my mom and dad to listen. I'm gonna open a store. I'll open it in Dallas. You guys in Wilkes-Barre. I want to call it Van Scoy Diamond Mine East or West or whatever. He said, no. Tovan's your company. Open under Tovan. Keep your last name out of it. Okay. So that's why I opened under Tovan. T-O from Tommy, V from Van, O from Scoy, and N from Van. That's how I got the name.
I was just going to ask you, where'd the name come from?
I know. I said, how'd you get Tovan, That's where it came from.
Okay.
That's where it came from.
Got it.
So then he opened a store, the retail store, and it's doing great. And I still get diamonds, from overseas. And I stopped a lot of the wholesale stuff. I do a little of it, but not very much at all.
Yeah. You're done with that rat
I'm
race.
done with that. Exactly. I get too old to do this stuff anymore.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. So now, all right. So I was in your racing suit earlier that had Tovan on it.
Yeah.
You brought your racing suit with you.
Oh, you asked me some kind of logo
Yeah.
stuff, and that's the only thing I had,
Yeah. So tell me a little bit about your racing background.
Okay. So when we used to sponsor, I remember Van Scoy Diamond Mine 500 because we were franchising stores. The bank was getting ready to take possession of the track way back when in 1985. So the bank called my father and said, listen, would you like to purchase the racetrack? He said, what am I going to do with the racetrack? He said, but here's what I'll do. He said, I'll promote this racetrack so it'll be busy again. I got stores up and down the coast now, and I'm on the radio advertising. I just say, come to Van Scoy Diamond Mine 500 at Pocono. And that's what he did. He started doing this, and it started picking up. And so the first year we went in there, I skipped around. I apologize, Billy.
It's okay.
The first year we started franchising, they said, okay, come up to the racetrack. And, I'd meet some of the drivers and stuff. So I went up, my dad, my mom. And so we met the Andretti's. Mario was there. And he's the one who took my parents around, I believe, in the car. And Mike Andretti was there. That's how I met Mike. And coming out of there, they took us for a ride around the track and stuff. It was pretty cool. So coming out of the racetrack, there's a sign that says racing school, right? And I used to race motorcycles as a kid, too. Kawasaki, scrambles and short track. And once it's in your blood, it's in your blood. And racing, I don't care what it is. So I'm like, oh, wow, cool. Racing school? So I said, I'm going to just see what it's all about. So I went around, knocked on a little door, right? Little trailer he had. This fellow comes, foreign-speaking language. He was a Swedish fellow called Berto Roos. He was a Formula One race car driver. And he has this racing school at Pocono. I said, I'd like to take the racing school. Okay, here, give me your name, blah, 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 blah. And so I took the racing school for 3 days. And it was a blast. I mean, it was truly, you're on road tires for the first 2 days, and the last day they put you on slicks. And these old little things called Formula Fords, right? So, and they hooked me up with, it was 2 people side by side. So me and this little fellow with curly hair, and the other people, they matched them all up, right? So we took the driving school and everything. And so at the end of the racing school, this buddy I got matched up with in the car, we're sitting on pit wall, and all these people coming over to him. I said, hey, could I have your autograph? Right? So I'm like, John, I knew his first name was John. I said, John, who are you? What are you doing? He said, I have a band. I said, what kind of band do you have? He said, you ever hear of Hall & Oates? I said, no, I'm John Oates. I said, you got to be freaking kidding me. Yeah, John Oates.
The whole time.
The whole time.
Wow.
Real neat guy. And he said,
wow.
Is that you, Van Scoy Dynamite 500? I said, well, that's my father. He said, Get the hell out of here, And we hit it off after we raced. We raced together after that. Real nice guy.
Really cool.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
It was.
So you did a lot of racing.
I did a lot of racing. I used to do hill climbs. My one Giants Despair. Oh, I get what year it was. Oscar Kowaleski had the record for years and years and years. Then they stopped racing because the road was really rough. If you ever gone up the side of Laurel Run Hill there, oh my God, there's it's wavy and everything else.
Yeah.
So they were going to bring it back if they ever paved it. Well, they never paved it then. So I ran it, my car up there, and I won. Fastest time of the day. Which wasn't as fast as Oscar was because Channel 22 at the time had a picture of me in air about 1.5 feet off the ground over Devil's Elbow, and then you land again. I mean, it was scary. So
it sounds.
I did. I did it for 2 or 3 years, I think, and then we had a Van Scoy store down in Reading, so they had a hill climb at Duryea Hill Climb. So I thought I'll take the car down there for advertising, be good for them too, So I went down and ran that. And the first 2 years, I took second both times. Then after that, I won. I had the record for 7 or 8 years down there. And some fellow, an IndyCar, came up and beat me. So my record, but in my class, I have it down there yet.
Yeah.
So
very cool.
Yeah, I mean, racing for me was, I guess it's from going around the dirt track at the house. You know what I mean? It's in your blood. And whether you race motorcycles or cars or these little RC cars, it's in your blood, I think.
Yeah.
The competition thing, Yeah.
So you really loved that.
I did. Racing for me was, and I met a lot of really, really nice people that were friends to today. You won't see him for 5 years. Hey, Tommy, it's Charlie Miller. Charlie, how you doing? You know what I mean? Charlie was my crew chief. I mean, Charlie was a great fella, a great jeweler. I met him. He was the jeweler for the Reading store, and he happened to be a darn good mechanic, too. So I said, I'm racing you. He said, yeah, I'll come with you. So he used to come with me every race, a great mechanic. And we had a nice time. It was fun.
That's cool.
It was a great part of my life.
Yeah. Very cool. So it's like diamonds and racing. It all kind of
I know.
All kind of meshed.
I know.
Yeah. So all right. But back to the racetrack.
Yes.
You said that they said to your dad, like, hey, why don't you buy this? And
Yeah.
he said, nah, how about I just advertise for it instead? So, I think it's kind of interesting how, your dad had like that advertising mindset.
Oh God, yeah.
Because, everybody, even my generation, is a younger generation, knows the commercials on, from the radio.
Exactly.
Right? Like everybody knows them,
Yep.
Yep.
Even though my store's Tovan, I have my own jingle. Right. But yeah, they do. I mean, I have some of the older folks that just sing my father's jingle to me,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I just think that's like so fascinating how like your dad had like that advertising.
Oh, he did, man.
Mind.
He did. I'm telling you, he did. He did. And I used to have a friend, Ellie Katuna from the Gene King. This is before your time, Billy. But he used to have a store. He used to sell jeans up here in the Gene King. And him and my dad were good friends. So they used to make bets who would buy the radio advertising cheapest. All right? I'm telling you.
Yeah.
Tom, I got it for $42 a spot. Oh, damn it. All right. I'll call you back, Elliot. My father got it for, hey, Elliot, I got it for $38 a spot now instead of $42, And so then Elliot started advertising, and Gene's business went crazy for him, too. So the advertising back then was a whole world different than it is today. Today, you got the internet, you got, oh my God, social media, and the radio just doesn't do what it used to do,
Yeah, now we got podcasts.
Now, yeah, exactly, podcast, exactly, Billy. Thank God for guys like you, honest to goodness, man.
Yeah.
But that's how you get the word out there now,
Yeah.
You spend money in radio, and I do it, I still do it for holidays and stuff, but it doesn't work like it used to work. Costs the same, but it doesn't work the same.
Yeah. So, all right, so what would you say you learned most from your father, in business or life?
Business and life, it's up to you to decide what you want to do with your life. And whatever you want to do, you can succeed doing it. Never take no for an answer. And the worst thing anybody could tell me, oh, you can't do that. Or that, you're up against, really? I'll show you. And that's how I used to, in my head, not out loud, because I was never cocky, but in my head, I had a positive attitude to everything I did. To this day, I do. And I try to teach this, instill to my kids, and they all think the same way, My youngest boy, Johnny, is a pilot for major airlines. My youngest daughter, Molly, is a pilot for the airlines. Everybody's succeeding successfully, and my oldest boy has like the jewelry thing down in Philly, does on his own. No jewelry store, no nothing. He's like an individual sales, how can I say it, independent jeweler, if you will. And we do a lot of work on CAD. I design rings on CAD. We have our own casting machine. Okay, I'm going back here now. Remember I told you I was talking to jewelers? I used to sell to jewelers. See how I bump around here? I apologize. Yeah. So the jewelers used to say to me, Tommy, you give us 30 days to pay. And by the time we get them in a ring, it takes us sometimes 30 days to get it done. So we have to pay for the goods before any of them are even sold. Is there any way you could make the rings and put them in the rings, sell them to us finished in the mountings already? I said, yeah, I'll figure it out. All right. So they have this, it's like a jewelry show, but it's called a manufacturer jewelry show. They have all tools and all this and the whole 9 yards and so on and so forth. So I went there and looked, and I knew how to size rings and set diamonds, but as far as manufacturing them, I never did that yet. All right. So now I got to find out how to manufacture these things. So, and I asked questions, does the vacuum machine need a casting machine, what the process is? I bought a book from one of the guys, how to do it and everything. So there's one vacuum machine, beautiful looking machine, it was $38,000. And I can't afford this thing, right? So I could lease it, yep. Where are you located? California. So let's say something happens to this machine. We'll get a guy in an airplane, and the old belly said, nah, guts tell me, nah, don't do it. I said, listen, pull the panel off this thing so I could see if I can get parts for this. So they took the 4 bolts off, and I'm looking. I'm like, that's a vacuum chamber. That's a vacuum pump. That's a check valve. I can make this. I said, I'll let you know. So I went back to the hotel in New York, and I drew a schematic of this thing. The vacuum chamber is just it's a chamber. So what I did, one of my buddies was a beer distributor. He got me an old quarter keg, all right? That was bad for some reason. I took it to my machine shop buddy. I said, Jimmy, could you cut the top off of this? I need a flange, 4.5-inch flange. I need an 1/8-inch national pipe thread here and a 1/2-inch national pipe thread there. All right, Tommy, no problem. So that's getting done. I order a vacuum pump itself for $370, vacuum pump. And the valve for it, I think I got it at one of the hardware stores, right? And there was a gauge on top, which is the gauge I used to use for setting up the carburetors on my car. It's a vacuum gauge is what it is, right? I said, I know what that is. My God, it's a vacuum gauge. So I plumbed this whole thing in, and I made this thing. And the first time I used it, took forever. The gauge was taking forever to come up. I said, the volume's too big. I need smaller volume. So I took a thing of Saccrete, concrete, mixed it up, poured it in my vacuum chamber, this quarter keg, filled it up about halfway, tried it again. Oh, now it works perfect. I'm using it to this day.
Wow.
To this day. It's not pretty, but it works beautiful.
And what did it cost to make?
$800 total.
Instead of?
$38,000.
That's crazy.
Yeah. I make my store, when I moved from Dallas to Wilkes-Barre, I built the showcases. I designed it on my CAD program. My brother Kenny and I built the showcases for that store. I mean, built them from scratch.
Wow.
Because I did everything, Billy. Laminate, I had laminate tools. I have everything, the clamps. I physically built. Well, Kenny and I built and put the glass in it. Ordered glass from a glass company. I get them in dimensions, fit them right in place. I got originally a bid for $93,000 for them, for a jewelry
To
have them made.
Yeah, furnish, build out the store.
Exactly. Oh, this is just for the showcases. $93,000.
Oh my God.
The total cost me $8,600 in material, but I worked 7 days a week, literally. And I was doing the old IGA up in the Dallas Shopping Center. It was vacant, right? So I called landlord. I said, listen, could I rent this? I said, yeah, I just paid, utilities. I said, oh, no problem, So I took my table saw down there, all my tools down there, and my brother Kenny and I built this, all the showcases for there. And they fit like gloves. I mean, right in. So, okay, so now showcases are being built. I have to build a store now. All right, it was funny because when they're building the shopping center up where Panera Bread used to be, all right?
Yep.
We get hit by a tornado, in 2018. So my accountant at the time said, Tommy, you got to get up by the mall. We're doing great here up in Dallas. Now you got to get by the mall. There's a place available right next to Panera Bread, It's your demographics and everything. Like, oh, my God, Again, I went against my gut. I said, all right, I'll take a look at it. I went up to, okay. So, Jimmy, you really think, Tommy, I really think it's going to be a good move. So I decided against my belly to do it, my gut. So anyway, they said, okay, you have to meet with the builders up there, So they want to see the layout of the store. So they gave me the perimeter of the store, and I laid the whole jewelry store out in my CAD program, right? You should see this. Billy was funny as all hell. So I go up, right? And I had, my work shirt with it at the time. I had a tie at the time, and I go out and, hey, how you doing? My name's Mike, and I where's your contractor? I said, I'm going to build it. No, the guy that designed it and physically going to do the work. I said, I'm going to do it. Oh, yeah, really? Yeah, what does the thing even look like? I said, wait a minute. I opened up my trunk, pulled my laptop out.
I'll show you.
So like, you designed this? I said, yep. You want to zoom in? Show you where the jewelry shop was going to be, where the sales floor is going to be, the whole 9 yards. So like, you're serious, aren't you? I said, yeah. I said, I build things. I'll build this, no problem. I said, I just need a hand getting me the what do you call it, permits. I'll show you the plans. I'll show you the whole 9 yards, but just help me get the permit.
Wow.
So I built the store.
Wow.
Me and my brothers. And I did have a sheetrock guy come in to do the sanding for me and stuff like that. But I'm the type that I like nice things, but either I'll make it, and that's how I built the store.
Yeah, have it done your way.
I have it done exactly, and I can't bitch to anybody but me because I'm the one to put it together.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Anything screwed up, it's your fault.
You got it exactly. Yep.
That's really cool. That's so cool. You did all that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
Yep.
Talk about money savings too.
Oh my God, Billy. Yeah, like in everything I've done, I try to do as much as I can myself. 2 reasons: to save a lot of money, and you do nowadays save a lot of money, and it's done the way I want it done. I can't tell you how many times I've had things done like, oh shit, this isn't right. I take it back apart, I redo this, redo it. Now that's the way it should be done.
Yeah.
That's me. I know I'm a little anal, but that's me.
Hey, nothing wrong with wanting it done the right way.
And that's the only way. My dad said it's either the right way or it's not right at all. You hire people, like I had jewelers years ago that I tried hiring and stuff like this for my store now. And give them a ring the size. You're interviewing them. Here, size this ring. And I didn't bother him. I'd, come back and get me when it's done. Hand him the ring like, this looks like shit. It's got a glob of solder back here. You just polished it. You shouldn't be able to tell where the sizing is, I can't tell you how many times I rejected people but I'm a nutcase. I know this. But
yeah, at least
with
you
my
admit
jewelry, it's got to be right, man. Even when I'm making my rings, I design the rings on a CAD right now. We have 3D printers. We 3D print the pieces. We do our own casting using a casting machine. We do our own work right there. And the nice part about it is that if somebody comes in for us to redesign it, which is huge for us right now, custom designing, the merchandise doesn't leave the store. It stays in our store. 99% of the time, jewelers don't do it in-house. They send it out to be done, which means your grandmom's gem, your mom's gem, and everything else is on a road trip somewhere getting put together someplace. And hopefully it's what you like.
Yeah.
Now we don't.
And hopefully it comes back the same gem.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. Exactly right. And another thing with us, too, if someone leaves a piece of jewelry with us, like a diamond, whatever, it's called a plot, which is a diagram of a diamond, face up on a diamond, what it looks like from the surface. and I inspect it with the eye loop, and I mark on that plot, that diagram, any little characteristics, whether it be a feather, a carbon speck, air bubble, or a nick in the side. It's marked right on there. And then I show the customer physically. Take a look. Here's how you hold the eye loop. See this? Oh, yeah, I see that. Oh, you see? Yep, I see that. The initial that they saw that inclusion and that what it looks like. And that's what you do the same thing when you pick it back up. I cleared up any bullshit, any problems beforehand.
Yeah.
And that's the only way to do it.
Absolutely.
Let them see beforehand what it has, and you'd be surprised. The diamonds are the hardest thing known to man, but they're brittle. Once they're cut, they're the hardest thing known to man in its natural state. Octahedron look like two pyramids base to base. They cut them in half to make two round stones out of them. That's what's called octahedrons. So in that state, they're the strongest thing known to man. Once you cut them now, it's called polishing. Once you polish the fastest on them, now you're exposing grain. Like a piece of wood will have grain in it.
Right.
You catch, oh, crap, it picked that grain up, right?
Yep.
Same thing with a diamond. So even setting them, you're sweating bullets sometimes with these big stones or these pointed stones. Like, oh, my God, Don't chip it, whatever you do.
Yeah.
So, that's, so I want people to know when they leave the merchandise, it's not going anywhere else but right where it is. And I want you to know what you're leaving me has this little nick on it or this little chip on it beforehand.
Yeah.
Before you leave it.
Yeah. So it sounds like you know a thing or two about diamonds.
You know what? I did take the school GIA, Gemological Institute of America, the diamond course. I'm a certified diamond graduate, all right? But quite honestly, I learned more from the diamond cutters. Those cutters in Israel and Belgium, they're not certified by anybody. But you know what? They'll know exactly where to cut the stone, how to cleave it, but they're not certified in anything.
Yeah.
The certificate is more like, okay, I'm certified. There's a hand on the wall. But, I mean, honestly, not to blow my own horn, I like colored stones, you know more about them than I do. And I'm the first to tell you that. I know a little bit about rubies and sapphires, but diamonds I know. I don't care what it is. And nowadays, they're coming up with these diamonds called lab-grown diamonds. Oh, my God. They are beautiful. They're real diamonds. They just figured out, they start with a seed of a natural-grown diamond. They put it in this unit, and under intense pressure and intense heat, they inject carbon mist in it. And the carbon goes right to the diamond, and it builds. It builds up to a rough diamond. Then they take and they shape it, different shapes, different cuts. This one radiant cut diamond, it's called a lab-grown diamond.
It's wild.
Yeah, and they're real diamonds. People say, I want the real thing. I said, okay, let me ask you a question. You get roses for your wife? Well, hell yeah. Okay. Do you ask the florist to go on the side of the mountain? You don't want the shit grown in greenhouses. You want the real thing on the side of the mountain. No, you don't.
Yeah.
Right?
Same thing.
It's the same analogy.
Yeah. So these lab grown diamonds are what? A lot less expensive?
Oh, yeah. They're like 30 to 40% less in price. Yep,
wow.
For sure.
And you can't tell the difference.
Absolutely, positively not. That's why I don't buy diamonds over the counter anymore like I used to from customers. Things don't work out because if they don't buy it from me, there's a chance it could be lab grown.
And you don't want to overpay?
You'd overpay, you'll overpay for sure. So if you're going to buy it, you have to buy it so cheap. Like people think, for example, diamonds are investment. Truly, Billy, they're not. Even natural diamonds, they're not. Truly. I'm in the business.
Yeah.
And I'm just saying to you straight. You want to invest in something? Buy real estate. Now, gold's a different story. Gold is a commodity. Diamonds are not. I mean, that's why these scrap dealers, they buy diamonds over the counter and stuff. They buy them dirt cheap. You know what I mean? Now take them to sell to people in New York, whatever. And the rule of thumb, and I'm sorry to say it, if it's usually 20 to 30 cents on a dollar.
Wow.
Yeah. So you spend 10 grand, expect to get 2,500 maximum for it. Really.
That's a bummer.
That's what I'm telling you. Seriously. And I'm in the business. You buy it because you love the person. It's an engagement ring. That's what it's meant for. It's an engagement ring.
Hopefully you never have to give it back.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly right.
Wow.
Yeah.
I don't think I knew that.
No, most people don't. Oh, jeweler telling me. I said, of course they do. I want to sell you the damn thing.
Yeah.
You know, like the people think platinum. Platinum is a lot better than gold. Platinum is really a soft metal. It's like a lead weight. Pure platinum is like a lead weight. Like for fishing. Very soft. You can scratch with your fingernail almost. And platinum almost has the same density, specific gravity as almost lead. It's heavy. So back in pre-1992, they used to make, if the ring said platinum on the inside, It was 90% pure platinum and 10% of an alloy called iridium. Iridium is super, super strong. When they mixed those two together, it had great wearability and great durability characteristics. 1992 on, they decided to get the margins up for the jewelers. So they said, we're going to put 5% more platinum in this way, get more for it, right? I'm thinking, man, it's a softer freaking metal, right? And so now you're talking 95% platinum and 5% of an alloy. They don't use iridium anymore because iridium's more expensive than platinum. So they're using cobalt. And I'll show you pictures of rings in platinum. It's a shame that the people didn't know ahead of time. The jeweler told me, right, they're salespeople. Yeah. I make this stuff, right? I know what's wearable and what's not. I went to the one jewelry show in Las Vegas. They have a jewelry show every year. And they had a seminar, platinum seminar. So I went to the platinum. I got there a little late, so I sat in the back. And this guy up front talking Platinum Guild, about how platinum is and, the margins are great in it and how great it wears. And I put my hand up, right? I'm in the back. Can I help you, sir? I said, yes, sir. You just said how great they wear. I said, it's not true. I said, I manufacture these things. Pre-1992, 90-10 mixture, yes, but not the new stuff. It comes in, it looks like you hit it with a ball-peen hammer. And if you see the heads in front of me, the jewelers, Bob, he's right. Yeah. He's right.
Yeah.
He's right. And, and I said, I manufacture this stuff, and it's softer. It's heavier. People think because it's heavier, it's better. No. Lead is heavy, too. But it scratches easy, as platinum does. And everybody's like, yeah, he's right. He's right. So he said, okay, wait. So he took the dollar sign. Oh, no. He took the chalkboard. He erased what was there. He said, isn't it all about this? And he puts a big dollar sign. You can make more money with the platinum. I said, well, then that's what you should say. Yeah. Don't say it wears better because it doesn't. Yeah. It's malleable. It bends like so freaking easy. Diamond setters love it. It just bends easy. So, sorry. I didn't mean to interject the stuff about.
It's all good. Yeah. It's valuable information.
You know what? If a lot of people knew this stuff, honestly, there's things that people don't know.
Yeah.
Like the lab grown, like the platinum versus, people think want to get 18 karat, it wears. No, it's softer. Because, I do my own alloying. I buy pure 24 karat gold. I buy the alloy for white gold and yellow gold. And people are like, well, why are the prongs white though and the band is yellow? I want yellow. I said, no, you don't want yellow for the prongs. Yellow has nickel mixed with it. Or I'm sorry, white has nickel mixed with it. Nickel's strong. And you want something strong holding your diamonds, and it wears better than yellow gold as well.
You're just like a vault of knowledge.
Billy, I've been doing this my whole life. You know what I mean? Seriously.
Yeah.
My whole life.
It's impressive, though.
Yeah, and if you're an artist. I'm not an artist, for God's sake. We design these rings. I'm not an artist. God darn, I build things. That's all. A mechanic, No, you're not. Oh, Jesus, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, but no, it is. It's really impressive.
Yeah.
Yeah, really cool.
That's probably when Jane said you got an interesting story. I told her bits and pieces of it.
She did, yeah. She said, she's like, you got to have him on. She said, he's got the most interesting stories.
Oh, Jesus. Thank you, Jane. My goodness, this is great. Yeah. I'm glad you called, Bill.
Yeah. No, it was great I'm glad she introduced us.
Yeah,
and,
me too.
I'm glad you came in today. You brought some nice diamonds that you gifted me.
Yeah.
I'm kidding.
Yep. They're different. I'm going to show people what 3 karat diamonds look like, different shapes. We have the cushion, the pear shape, the radiant cut, the round, and the oval.
Yeah.
All 3 carats and different shapes look different sizes to the eye.
Yeah. Beautiful diamonds.
Yeah.
Well, this was fun. I like I said, I appreciate you coming in and sharing your story and your knowledge.
No problem, Billy. I really appreciate you asking me, honestly.
Yeah.
It was really nice of you to do that.
Yeah. So how can our listeners, where's your store at, number one?
We're in the Dallas Shopping Center. We were up in Wilkes-Barre. We got hit by the tornado in 2018. We're in the Dallas Shopping Center where we started. So we're there, and we're not open Sundays or Mondays. Our hours are Tuesday, Wednesdays, Fridays till 5. Thursdays till 8 is our late night. And Saturdays 10 till 3. And we do a ton of designing, like remanufacturing. People come with earrings and rings, their grandmoms and everything, and I lay everything out. And on the computer, I'm just slower than I used to be, that's all. But we send you a picture, a computer-generated picture of what it's going to look like before it's even made.
That's really cool.
We're state of the art too. People don't realize this little store in Dallas. We're state of the art. We have CNC machines. We mill waxes. We have 3D printers. We print the stuff in 3D so the customer could see it before it's even made.
I got to come see this.
You do. I'm telling you. Stop up, Bill.
I got to come see it.
I'll show you the whole 9 yards.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'd love to.
Yep.
This is wild.
Who would think of Dallas, Pennsylvania? Just this little guy knows how to do all
Right.
this.
Yeah.
We can do all this stuff, but
Yeah.
we do.
What's the best way for people to connect with you online?
Actually, the best way is Facebook, through Facebook. We have a big following on Facebook, Instagram, but probably Facebook's the best way.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, this was great.
Billy, thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. On the Stacks podcast in the Blue Door studio. Thanks for joining me.
Thanks for having me, Billy.